Hello everyone, you're watching PC Helper and welcome to another video in the Python 3.9 tutorial series. If by the end of this video you feel like you have learned something today, then please leave a like and also don't forget to subscribe to PC Helper for regular content. So in the last video we talked about recursion in Python, and in this video we'll be talking about how to find factorial of any number using recursion. In one of the previous videos I've already discussed how to find factorial of any given number with the help of for loop, but in this video we'll be talking about how to find factorial using recursion. Though it won't be very difficult, but what I recommend is if you haven't watched my video on how to find factorial using for loop, then first of all go and watch it, because in that video I've discussed the basic of factorial and how to find it using for loops, and once you have watched that video it would be easier for you to understand how this program works, the program for finding factorial using recursion. So first of all, let's recall that what is recursion. Recursion is when one function calls itself inside it. So when a function calls itself, then it is called recursion. So first of all, we have to make a function. So the name of our function is, let's say, fact. So this fact function will find factorial of any number, and it will take one argument only, which would be equal to the number of which we have to find the factorial. So let's give this argument name n. And now let's say we want to find the factorial of, let's say, 4. So when we will call this function, we haven't defined the function yet, but I'm assuming that we have defined the function. And when we will call this function, and if we want to find the factorial of 4, we will call fact4. So this is simple. This is just the very basics of functions. And now let's talk about working of this function. And this is the most important part. And now things might get a bit more complicated. So please listen very carefully. And if you are unable to understand it at once, then just watch this video again, and I'm sure that all your doubts related to recursion and finding a factorial of any number will be cleared. But one thing to note here is that Python understands arithmetic operators like addition, subtraction, multiplication and division, but it does not understand what a factorial is. So when we say, let's say in this case we have to find factorial of 4, so we know that 4 factorial is equals to 4 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 1. But Python does not know it. Python only understands this multiplication sign, but it does not understand what a factorial is. And in this case, we have to find factorial of 4. As you can see, we have called 4. And if you look at this carefully, you will see that 3 into 2 into 1 is the factorial of 3. Because 3 factorial is 3 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 1. So we can simply write 4 factorial is equal to 4 multiplied by 3 factorial. But here again, Python does not know what is the factorial of 3. So now 3 factorial is equals to, similarly, 3 factorial is equals to 3 multiplied by 2 factorial, because it is 3 into 2 into 1, and 2 into 1 is the factorial of 2. And similarly, we can write factorial of 2 is equals to 2 into 1 factorial. And then similarly, we can find the factorial of 1 like 1 into 0 factorial. And now one important thing to note is that 0 factorial is not equals to 0. 0 factorial is equal to 1. This is one important thing. If you don't know this, then factorial of 0 is equals to 1. So now we know that factorial of 0 is 1. So in this one comment, I have written down the step-by-step process on how we will approaching this program. So now we know that this 4 factorial, our Python program does not understand what is this 4 factorial, but what it will understand is fact 4. So when we will call this function factorial 4, we want it to calculate 4 into 3 factorial, and it does not understand 3 factorial. So now what we want is, we want it to calculate factorial of 3. Similarly, factorial of 3 will be calculated when we will calculate 3 into 2 factorial. And then similarly, when the Python program wants to calculate the factorial of 2, it has to find 2 multiplied by 1 factorial. So we have to again call this function fact, and this time the value of n will be equal to 1. And lastly, when factorial of 1 will be calculated, 1 into factorial of 0 will be the output. And we can simply write as an if condition that factorial of 0 is equals to 1. And when you will look at this comment carefully, you can see a pattern here. And the pattern is that factorial of n, which in this case is 4, is equals to n multiplied by factorial of n minus 1. Then the value of n will be changed to 3, and this time factorial of n is again equals to n into factorial of n minus 1. and again factorial of n is equals to n into factorial of n minus 1. And now this tells us what our function has to do. Our function simply has to return n multiplied by factorial of n minus 1. As simple as that. And now when this function will be called, it will simply return, as in this case, n is equals to 4. So it will return 4 into factorial of n minus 1. So factorial of 3. So again this fact function is called inside fact. So it is using recursion here. That fact is called inside fact only. So now it will, first of all, it will calculate 4 into factorial of 3. Then it will calculate 3 into factorial of 2. Then it will calculate 2 into factorial of 1, as you can see in this comment. So the working will be same as I have written in this comment. But what this will cause is, it will cause recursion unlimited number of times. To stop that, we can simply write if n is equals to 0 and we know that factorial of 0 is 1, then simply return 1. And what it will do is, just look at this comment. So we have written when n is equals to 0, return 1. So factorial, when factorial is equals to 0, so it will return 1. So factorial of 1 is 1 multiplied by 1. Our Python program understands multiplication. So now we know that factorial of 1 is equals to 1. And factorial of 2 is now 2 multiplied by 1. So factorial of 2 is equals to 2. So we can simply write 2 instead of factorial of 2. And factorial of 3 is now equals to 3 multiplied by 2, which is equals to 6. So instead of factorial of 3, we can write 6 here. And factorial of 4 is equals to 4 multiplied by 6, which is equals to 24. And now I will execute this program. And we did not get any output because I forgot to write print here. And now when we will execute this program, we will get the desired output, which is equals to 24. So this was the step-by-step working of finding factorial of any number using recursion in a Python program. So if we will write 5 instead of 4, we should get value is equals to 120. And as you can see, factorial of 5 is 120. And now we can simply just remove this comment also, so that our program looks nice. And this is how to make function of program of finding factorial using recursion. It is very simple, and also you can simply take user input instead of defining it yourself. You can simply take an input from user like x is equal to integer input. Oh my bad, input. And here you can say enter a number and simply just pass x here. And now when you will execute this program, oh my bad. So what I did wrong here was, oh, I forgot to add one bracket here. So now when I will execute this program, it will ask me to enter a number of which we have to find the factorial. I want to calculate factorial of, let's say, 8. And when I'll press enter, 40320 is the factorial of 8. As simple as that. So I hope you liked this video, but a lot of you might be still confused about its working. So what I want you to do is just watch this video once again, and I'm sure all your doubts will be cleared. I've tried my best to simplify it as much as I could. So I hope you like this video. If you like this video, please like this. Please leave a like on this video. And if you have any doubt, please write in the comment section. I will try my best to help you out. And also I'll see you guys in the next one.